Caution: this video might cause great discomfort, especially for devout Christians. Please think thrice before moving on. Yes, I did it. I killed God. You may ask, how arrogant are you to claim that? Surely, based on the widely accepted Protestant definition, God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. This implies that God cannot be killed. Until I criticize the concept of God. While objectivity seems like part of the universal principles of constructing the truth, it is in fact a merely common consensus among human beings. It is no doubt a very practical concept, and we act as if there actually exists such a thing as the objective reality. Nevertheless, who can truly guarantee that the moon will still exist if there is no one observing it by any means? It sounds absurd, but as a limited being, how can I assume the existence of an object when I cannot access it firsthand? Is it not a type of arrogance to believe in my own imagination? And is it not that we are always told to use first-hand material as the primary source for our academic papers? Here I'm not trying to argue whether objectivity is a thing or not, but to point out that these are just frameworks for us to navigate the world. Whether the Earth, the Sun, the Milky Way galaxy, or none is the center of the universe, they are all valid theories for describing the world we observed. It just that some require more arbitrary corrections than others, which people might have a preference to choose a simpler one. Therefore, to push this argument further, who am I to pick and claim one religious framework over the other, or even claim that there exists or not exists such a thing we call the truth or the ultimate reality? If I have to be humble, should I not view all of these as just practical frameworks and admit that I do not truly know what the truth is? These questions are the essence from my more than 15 years journey of seeking the truth as a heavily devoted evangelical Christian. I studied in a Christian primary school. Bible study was one of my favorite lessons. I admire those biblical characters so much. Noah, Abraham, Moses, David, Paul, etc. However, for some unknown reason, I was not a very obedient kid, which caused a lot of trouble in school. At the age of 11, I finally got a chance to listen to the full gospel. Immediately I repented and got baptized shortly after. Over the years during secondary school, there were ups and downs in my faith, but I had never left the church and was very proud of being a Christian. The brothers and sisters in the church treated me so well as if I was one of their actual family members. Although there were certainly things that I disagreed with or strictly annoyed me, I defended my faith every time people wanted to criticize it. But one thought always lingered. As someone who dreamed of becoming a theoretical physicist, I treated reconciling the irreconcilable between science and Christianity as one of my biggest missions, and I carried it with me into university. As I got more serious into the ministry and deeper into the Christian faith, I got more confused. While I thought that Christians are a bunch of people who seek the truth humbly together through the Bible and serve others regardless of their backgrounds, I observed the opposite in the church. Whenever I try to ask questions about the Bible, honestly tell people I do not feel that touching during the meetings, or suggest that maybe we can dive deeper into some spiritual concepts, I ended up becoming the sole problem. They kept telling me to have faith and use the heart instead of the brain to pursue God. Pray more was the only go-to advice. Then up to a certain point I was being treated as a very devout troublemaker. Regardless, I still attended all the meetings, not just on Sunday, but almost every day of the week. I thought that maybe I was not pursuing God hard enough. Maybe I still have blind spots. Maybe I should learn more first. But one thing disgusts me a lot, which is the way they treat people. According to the teachings of Jesus, we are supposed to treat everyone the same. Namely, cannot prioritize believers over non-believers. However, whenever some non-believers show no interest in converting to the Christian faith, their kindness fades away. Not only that, the self-proclaimed most inclusive community often creates layers and layers of implicit hierarchies with unspoken ranks and idolization of certain church leaders. I was so fed up with this. That is why I chose to leave Hong Kong's branch and came to Vancouver's branch to seek a change. Then this turned out to become the starting point of my conversion into a God slayer. The church in Vancouver is way smaller. The The people appeared so nice as expected. For the first 2 years, I thought that I could finally settle down to truly pursue God. I tried to enjoy the meetings. I tried to participate in their ministries. I tried to discuss the Bible with them. Slowly and gradually, I realized that there was not much difference. They might be less hierarchical due to the small population. They might be less bureaucratic because of simpler organizational structure. They might be more flexible thanks to the Western influence. But deep down they behave the same groupthink, pedantic, and implicitly exclusive community. I was frustrated, and I told the biggest church leader that I decided not to be involved so much, but still loved to attend all of the meetings, just to give myself a space for organizing my thoughts. During that conversation, she told me that she saw me one time in the meeting and felt like I did not have as much glory as in the past, but she respected my decision. Within the week, during one of the meetings that I happened to miss due to my work schedule, she publicly talked about there was a brother who decided to read and pursue God by himself and not follow the church's path, and stated that he became less glorious in that way. My friend in the church told me about this, and I was furious. I thought that the conversation between me and her would be a private one. Although she later claimed that she did not say anyone's name and was not talking about me, the way she publicly described it, the guy heavily pointed towards me, regardless of her intention. So I confronted her. Of course, she just kept dodging the questions and told me that it is my own problem for misinterpreting her words. Funny enough, during that period, I published a few videos on YouTube exploring the ideas of evolution and the common symbols among various religions, aiming to illustrate that we human beings have the tendency to seek the ultimate superior being. Some church people saw those videos and had a problem with it, so they reported it to those church leaders. Shortly after, the second biggest church leader came to me and asked me if I could take down those videos so that people would not misinterpret and get wrong ideas about God. At that moment, I fully understand. People do not really care about the actual truth. They care more about who speaks it. If it is from the biggest church leader, the responsibility of misinterpreting is on the listener. If it is from a normal believer, the responsibility of misinterpreting is on the speaker. I might not handle it well with the confrontation with the biggest church leader. I might not present my ideas clearly enough in my videos, but at that moment I realized that none of these matter anymore. This church, or possibly any other churches, all runs the same. This is the characteristics of a group. This is society. From that moment onward, I decided not to relate myself to the church anymore. If they do not see how contradictory their beliefs and their behaviors are, one possibility is that they believe this is how things should be, and God loves it this way. One interesting idea the biggest church leader told me was that there are priorities in truths in the Bible. Some override others. Surely, but she was using this to justify why the church was prioritizing the feelings of the elders, the deacons, and the group leaders over the feelings of the ones who were under their leadership. This shows that God in this church is different from the God in other churches. Similar to the God in Christianity is different from the God in other religions. All of these are subject to the collective interpretation of a group towards the idea of the ultimate existence. In other words, they are nothing but religious frameworks from different groups of people, which makes God not so special to me anymore. If that is the case, did I not kill the God I once believed in? So far I've shown the motives behind why I killed my God, but what is next for this murderer of all murderers? What should I invent to substitute the place of God? Is this task too great for me? Do I need to become God myself? All of these questions will be answered in the next video. That's it for this time. See you in the next one.